Hi everyone, how are you? It is 11:30 a.m. here in the Ultimate Baby Sleep Group, and it is July 5th. For those of you who are new to the group, it is the Wednesday question answer thread. On Mondays, I post a certain topic, and on Wednesdays, I come in and talk about that topic. Now, we are in the summer groove, in the summer mode already now, me especially, and quite frankly, I love the summer, but with sleep and structure, it gets thrown off a lot. So last week, I talked about getting thrown off of a summer schedule and how to get your child onto a better sleep schedule in the summer. So this week is kind of an offshoot of last week. So if you haven't watched last week's video, go check that out before watching today's. Or if you're watching live, then afterwards, go back and check it out. But this week, we are talking about the big question of how you can actually get sleep and still help your child nap while on vacation, going to the beach or going to visit someone or just going to Disneyland, whatever it is that you're doing, how you can actually maintain sleep sanity while going through these things, because it throws your sleep off, makes things difficult, and can definitely make a run for your money in terms of all of your sleep needs. Because I have found time and time again, people who call me, families I work with, people get very stressed about sleep. So I want to just introduce everything, and you've heard me say this before many times, but I'm going to say it again, and I'll probably say it again too. But sleep should not be this major issue or major pressing idea, whether it's a bedtime battle with a toddler or even in your mind, oh my gosh, how am I going to get naps together while I'm on vacation? Sleep should just be a normal process of life, just like we need to drink water when we're thirsty and brush our teeth and wear sweaters in the winter. We also need sleep just to be healthy and to function. And if you can view it with that non-stressed attitude, with this kind of nonchalant, go with the flow, life is what happens kind of thing, you're going to be able to maintain your sleep a lot better because you're not going to be stressed about it. And I speak from personal experience. I am a structured to the T person. And one of the biggest things that I have to work on constantly in myself is learning to let go. And trust me, I have many opportunities with children and with families, but with sleep especially, the more you can let go, the more you'll actually get into place, because you won't be tackling it head on, battling the circumstances that we can't always control. Okay, so I'm going to start going through these questions here, and if you're watching live or watching the replay, please hit me up on the bottom with some questions that you do have. Now, first is from Jen Cockrum, who I know very well. Let's open up your question here, my dear. Jen asks, okay, first night in RV camping. For those of you who don't know Jen is super cool. She takes her little cute guy in an RV camping. So that's what she wants to do. He climbs out of the pack and play at bedtime and at 5:30 a.m. You're going to assume this will happen at naps too. I try to be like a wall like you are at home. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, with toddlers and crib climbing, we often try to act as a physical barrier with not a lot of emotional interaction to try to teach them to stay put while making sure obviously they're safe but feel still secure. Separate talk, go watch the crib climbing one. I can try to be a wall, but he did not go to sleep in the pack and play on his own eventually, but with a couple of times in the night he wanted me to lay next to his bed. He seemed scared in the new environment. Basically, what do I do with these power struggles? I can't win, and they're non-negotiables. He needs to sleep. Okay, so this is a classic, amazing question about really what it means when we're talking about napping and sleeping on vacation. What that means, Jen, and to all of you watching, is that your child's having difficulty sleeping because they're not in their normal sleeping environment. They're traveling, they're in a new crib, it's a different even time zone. That throws our sleep off. I don't know about you, but I don't sleep well when I'm in a new bed, when I'm in a hotel. I don't sleep well, okay? There's different noises, the pillow feels different, whatever it is, it's difficult. We can't expect our children to be these magically adaptable creatures if they're not naturally. So what you want to do, Jen, is you might have to offer a little bit more security. And with any of you with travel, you can't magically put your kids in a room and close the door and expect them to go to sleep instantaneously like they do at home and sleep through the night, because they might not be that magical, adaptable child, okay? They might feel scared. They might feel disillusioned. They might feel confused. We can make your own list here. So at the end of the day, you might have to regress a little bit with their sleep, but know that it's temporary, okay? It's not like from now until forever, Jen is going to have to sit here and lay next to her child when he sleeps, because when he goes home, you can get right back to business. And that's in our talk about sleep regressions. If you go watch that about getting back on the horse, when you get back, we'll talk about that as the summer nears an end here. But Jen, the most important thing I want you to do is do whatever you need to do to ensure that he sleeps. Okay, power struggles is a separate talk, which I'll answer you in a minute after I go through these next questions. I have a feeling there'll be a lot of those. If you need to lay with him in the pack and play, he's in the pack and play, you're outside the pack and play next to him. If you need to do that to help facilitate security, make sure he feels good about his sleep environment, go for it. The biggest and most important thing is that he gets sleep and that you're not stressed. We're not going to make a whole training program for him to be sleeping well in the pack and play in the RV. It's just going to make it more difficult for him. What you want to do though is ensure that you can offer as much security as possible. So stay there with him and help him. But the power struggle token is key. And I use this example of rope pulling a lot. Power struggles take two. You pull, they pull. You pull, they pull. The goal is not to pull harder and stronger, because guess what? Little 1.5-year-old, 2-year-old is going to win, because they might not be physically stronger, but they are emotionally, and we just give up because we want them to sleep. So instead of having that constant back and forth, just picture yourself cutting the power struggle from even happening at all. And how you can do that is just by being that constant presence. And Jen, you and I spoke about this a lot when we worked together, but by being that constant presence, non-emotionally engaging, making sure that that emotional connection that the two of you have is strong, by you neutralizing your own feelings and emotions by being that calm, loving security and authority, okay? By maybe not necessarily talking to him about, no, we're not going home. No, we have to sleep here. Just be there, calming, sitting there next to him if he needs you to. Shh, mommy's here, go to sleep. So he feels secure knowing that you're there, but still knows he has to sleep despite the fact that he's in a different environment, okay? Oh, and then he wrote he slept well. Maybe he's getting used to the surroundings. Oh, whoops, missed that. Okay, well, hope this helped you all anyway, because I answered Jen's question. Okay, Tahila. You are going to California this week with your twin daughters who are almost 11 months old. And for those of you who don't know, Tahila's babies are super cute. She's my neighbor, lives in my neighborhood. Okay, we have them on a really good sleeping schedule now. I was wondering how we cannot mess that up with the time difference. Also, Mussy is having the same issue here. Okay, so number one, when you travel... When you travel to new time zones and time differences, that definitely throws sleep off. Depends on how long you're going to be there for. If you're going to California for a few days or even a week, it's not worth your while trying to adjust your child to a new time zone when it's going to take you 3, 4, 5 days to get them used to it, and then you're going to uproot them and go back. So biggest thing is when you're traveling, just try to use a little bit of maintenance, and we talked about this during regressions also in one of the videos past, so check that out. But just try to use a maintenance idea of sticking to their normal nap structure as much as possible. You know, it could be that they're 10 o'clock in their body, but really it's 8 o'clock on the new time, or 7 o'clock because California's 3 hours earlier than where Tahila lives in Michigan. Then it could be that you might have to wake them up and start their day at, a little bit of a later time just to help their bodies adapt. So let's say, for example, your babies normally wake up at 7 a.m. and take a nap at 9 a.m. And that's kind of how the progression goes forward with their day. So they might wake up at the new time at 10 a.m. Okay, because that's just what their bodies think, because it's 3 hours. Oh, it's 3 hours earlier. Hang on, I'm confusing myself. They wake up at 7 a.m. here, and that's going to mean they're waking up at 4 a.m. there. Yes, backwards. So either, Tahila, you can decide to leave it and say, forget it. I'll just go to bed super early, and I'll keep them on the same structure just with the California time. Or you might work on maybe having bedtime be a little bit later, maybe offering naps a little later to help shift that to be a little later, and the morning be, 5 a.m. or 5:30 a.m., but you don't have to focus all of your energy on getting them adjusted to the new time and getting everything perfect, because you're going to miss your vacation. And that's what I want to say here. The biggest thing with getting sleep, getting naps down pat when you're on vacation is not going psychotic, obsessive compulsive on making sure naps happen, making sure sleep happens. Because guess what? You're going to spend your whole vacation obsessing about your child's sleep. You're not going to enjoy your vacation, and you're going to feel stressed out, and that's not the purpose of going anywhere. It's to enjoy your family and spend time with them. So it's a balance, like I said in the beginning here. Letting go a little, letting go of the fact that it might not be perfect, and understanding that idea, while at the same time doing what you can to help facilitate a little bit of consistency, whether it's deciding that you're going to wake up early and stay with the California time, whether it's deciding, I'll be a little bit more free for all, but I'll stick with the times more or less, maybe adjust it a little later. You have to make the game plan yourself to figure out what's going to work for your personality, your babies and your children, and your vacation, okay? Connie, let's see what Connie wrote here. Connie has a 13-month-old, and she naps great in general. But you're flying from the UK to New Zealand in 3 weeks, and the time difference is 11 hours ahead. So you're almost the complete opposite. So when it's 12 p.m. for your baby's body, it is 12 a.m., total opposite. How do we tackle this? Do we put her down for naps and cap them and yet keep her awake during the day so we can slowly reduce them? What do we do about food? Cold turkey, slowly reduce. She currently sleeps 7:30 p.m. to 6 a.m. with no feedings, a 1.5 hour nap. So she's awesome. And yes, you are totally going to be flipping it completely. Now here's the idea. How long are you going to be there for? Honestly, if you're telling me you're going for 5 days, it's just not worth it. Just sleep whenever you can and drop the insanity. But if you're going to be there for a week and a half, 2 weeks, yeah, what that means is slowly adjusting your baby's body to the new time zone. And how you do that is by slowly waking your baby up a little bit earlier every day to start things off. So I don't know what time you're landing, but if your baby wants to sleep until, 7 p.m., because that's your baby's 7 a.m. wake up time, try to flip it. And the next morning, when your baby's going down at 7 p.m., try to start waking them up a little bit earlier and earlier and earlier and earlier by about an hour or so each day. So that way you'll have that flipped. Now it's not going to be magical, but I'll tell you, when we're talking about complete opposite here of like an 11, 12-hour time difference, the day, and I'm looking at my window, by the way, if you're wondering what I'm looking at, that our bodies and our circadian rhythms have a very direct correlation with day and night. So it's also going to be a natural progression that your baby's body will adjust. It's not like you're in a completely dark universe at all times and you have to wake your baby up to get them to adjust and learn to sleep better, by just naturally having the moonlight and the sunshine during the day. Your baby's body will adjust, but you will have to actively take the reins. Cold turkey, not my recommendation. Slowly start waking your baby up a little earlier, offer breakfast, do things like that. Your baby will be tired, but will adjust the more sunlight you keep your baby in during the day and the more you stick with it, that it could take about a week or so to get them adjusted. So again, it has to be worth it for how long your trip is going to be. Okay, someone asked about how do you deal with being on the airplane? I wish I had the magical airplane formula. Airplanes are rough with babies, rough with screaming babies. Have you all seen all those like viral videos about like every time the baby cries, the airline like gives a free ticket to every, it's hard. You just have to do whatever you can to stay sane and keep your baby happy. Whenever I travel, especially on airplanes with my babies or my younger children at least, I definitely, if possible, try to plan night flights because they're already more tired. It's a lot easier to soothe them and they're sleepy. But if it's out of your control or wherever you are, you just do your best. Distract them when they're awake. If you know their sleep time is coming, try to keep them happy. But the beauty is when you have a structured routine already set up and you're traveling, you're going in the car, you're going on the airplane, you're able to work with that because you're not playing guessing games, okay? And you're able to say, oh, well, really my baby's body thinks it's 10 a.m. And every day at 10 a.m. my baby takes a nap. So at 9:45, 9:50, even though I'm on the airplane, I'm going to be that crazy lady in the aisle going like this, rocking my baby. Or I'm going to start feeding my baby to sleep or rocking my baby to sleep, whatever it is. Because you can use that preventative measure because you know a nap is coming. And that's whether you're at the beach, whether you're at the mall, whether you're traveling, or whether you're just running errands or buying groceries. Keep that routine in place, assuming you're in the same time zone, because you're able to preempt sleep before it gets to that disaster, vicious, snowball, overtired cycle of your baby fighting it, because you're catching it before when they're at this ideal place when their body is ready, and it's a much smoother progression. Okay, Drazy, how are you, Drazy? Okay. I taught you so many healthy sleeping habits. I'm so happy. You're just not sure how to implement it now that it's summer, kids are home, and vacation. My newest baby is almost 5 months old and I'm trying to nap train her now, but that means she will be in a crib most of the day when the bigger kids need to be outside. Any ideas or insight on how to make that happen? So this is a good question, and Drazy, come to our mastermind call that we're having actually tomorrow. We'll talk about this in more detail. For those of you who don't know, once I work with families through my groups, we run calls that we have monthly after. But Drazy, you should come to that. Okay, we'll talk about it more so I can ask you questions. But in general, if you're trying to sleep train or nap train or work on anything, it has to be technically set up that it's going to work well for you, right? If you know you're going to be in the bedroom with your baby who's 5 months old for 4 or 5 days and the other kids are home and they need to be outside, that's not really a technical setup. Maybe it's better to wait till after the summer. Or maybe you can get a babysitter or a mother's helper to take them to the park or play with them in your backyard. But you are only one person. You can't be in 2 places at once. So the biggest thing you got to do is set yourself up technically for success. I've told you all this before, but in my family we go by the 5 Ps. Proper planning promotes positive performance, okay? And I know it sounds funny, but if we don't plan things ahead of time to be successful, oftentimes they won't be. So anything that you're doing has to be a right fit for where you're holding in life now. Okay, Priscilla. My 13-month-old son is used to sleeping alone in his crib. So how do I guarantee a good night's sleep where they're at the hotel sleeping in the same room? So yeah, you can't necessarily guarantee anything. Welcome to parenthood, right? It doesn't come with our instruction manual, or definitely doesn't come with a warranty, and definitely doesn't come with a return policy, right? But the most important thing to do is, like I just told Jen in the beginning here, Jennifer Cockrum, if you saw my post, my answer to her with her post, is you have to navigate it as it comes. You might need to regress. You might need to shush your 13-month-old. You might need to touch him a little, but that doesn't mean reverting to any old habits you used to have, whether you were feeding him or he was in your bed. Step back a little, and you might need to regress a little bit to help him by talking to him, but make sure he stays in his own sleeping space and you stay in your own sleeping space, and just offer that security so he knows you're there, but it doesn't ever become a major issue where there's suddenly a new regression happening, okay? Jordan. Okay. I'm taking my 2-month-old daughter on a 13-hour drive with my family for vacation. I was wondering what you recommend to do to keep her awake enough that she'll sleep that evening. She falls asleep pretty much immediately in the car, like every 2-month-old baby. And I don't want her to sleep most of the drive and not sleep all evening. I'm not sure if there's much to do, but thought I'd ask. Yeah, there's not much to do, but you know, you can put, I don't know how old your older kids are or your other kids, or if it's just the baby, but try as much as you can when it's not a delegated nap time, where normally your 2-month-old isn't sleeping. When they're napping, try to wake them up. Tickle your baby's toes, sing some songs, you know, give your baby a bottle. There's not much you can do. It's the same as a plane, but definitely do your best to keep it. You don't have to keep the car dark and silent, and make sure that you have like the little like sunlight visor thing on the windows. So, you know, you don't have to set up a situation where your baby's going to sleep. Your baby will sleep because your baby's 2 months old and in the car. But whenever possible, try to keep your baby up and stimulate your baby to facilitate more wake time. But it might be off. You might have a bad night that night, but guess what? Get right back on tomorrow. That's the beauty of routine, and the beauty of confidently knowing your child's sleep needs is you can always get back on. All right, Kristen. Our little guy adjusted to Oregon time, 2 hours behind our Texas time. Any tips on getting back on schedule when we get home? 14 months old. Okay, and hang on. I'm trying to look around this because there's more questions here. Let's see. Hang on. So Kristen, okay, here we go. All right, I'm just pulling this up. Okay, whoops. So Kristen, yeah. You gotta just get back on. There's no magic tricks. When you're going back to your regular time zone, I always talk about doing things gradually when you're in a new time zone, right? When you're going to California, when this person from the UK is going to New Zealand and it's 12 hours different, that's gradual, because you can't suddenly and magically expect your baby's body to adjust to a new time or new anything, just like you and I don't. But when you get back home, you can do it a lot faster. They're in their normal sleeping environment, they're familiar, and you're not reteaching, you are reminding their body how to do. Big difference, emphasis on the minding, not the teaching. Okay, so when you get back on gear and back home, Kristen, you can wake your baby up, start your day off, and it'll be back to square one the first day, maybe even the second day, because first of all, it's only a 2-hour time difference, B, it's what your baby's body naturally wants to do. So it should not be too difficult to get back on, but name of the game is consistency. If day 1 doesn't go smooth, do it again day 2. Day 2 doesn't go smooth, day 3. It shouldn't take longer than 2-3 days to get your baby back to a normal sleeping routine. All right, there's a lot of questions. I'm going to take one more question here, and then I got to run, everybody. All right. I wish there was a Q&A on dealing with baby sleep disruption when moving homes. This is the 5th night in our new flat, and I'm afraid we're going to have yet another sleepless night. Baby's been fighting sleep and crying when finally asleep. She'd wake up every 10 to 15 minutes crying inconsolably, and that's from 7 p.m. until around 6 a.m. You know what? Well, let's do next week on moving houses. But what I want you to do, Christina, go watch our sleep regressions video, okay? That's exactly what we talk about. And it's very similar to what we just discussed. Your baby is in a new sleep environment. Your baby is unfamiliar, probably picks up on your stress. Moving is extremely stressful. I've done it numerous times with babies also, and our babies are 100% an emotional extension of us, which I talk about all the time. So number 1 is stay calm yourself and know it's going to be okay, because the more tense and unwound up we get, our babies just mirror that. That's number 1. Number 2 is do your best to make a game plan. what did your baby's sleep look like previously? And are you just having a regression now, or is it turning into full-fledged bad habits? If it's just a regression, watch our regressions video. You can get back on track, have your baby sleeping well. But after 5 nights, 6 nights, 7 nights, you see, despite your efforts, it's not magically getting better like it used to, then you can reach out to me. I can discuss with you how I work and what I do, or you can watch our other videos and watch the bedtime battles. Watch how to get your baby sleeping through the night. Watch all those videos, and you might have to retrain your baby. It's not going to take as long as starting from the beginning, but after about a week, if it hasn't reset itself, that's when it's time to understand that it's more than just a simple regression and it's turning into an actual new habit. Okay, I'm going to go, everyone, now. This was great. I will try to answer some more of the questions in my comments later on. But I wanted to tell you all that I have something very exciting brewing over here. My sleep membership, which I call the Rested Moms Club. We got up and running. We just accepted a few people in to kind of, see how it was going to go. And it's really amazing, but we're doing some renovations on it now. And I'm going to be launching it to you all and letting you all know about it and taking new members towards the beginning of next week. So stay tuned. It's basically my entire sleep system that I use with all my one-on-one clients, where people pay me thousands of dollars to work with me intimately, in a whole membership site with a Facebook group like this one, except much more intimate. And I answer everybody's questions, and we have weekly Q&As and support, and it's going to be a really awesome price also that I'm going to be offering special for all of you watching the live when I send it to you. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And otherwise, have a great week, and I will see you all later.